Hello, everybody, and welcome back here to OP Live in Dallas, Texas. We will be getting into one of our next games, which is going to be NMSU versus Baylor. This will also be an elimination round, so whoever ends up winning this will advance to the quarterfinals to actually face ACU, who we saw in the first game.
No, actually, they're going to be playing against Texas Arlington. That's okay.
Arlington.
But we are going to be seeing that match coming up right after this one. But we're going to be going on to Volskaya again, as this is the last group stage map. That's where map pools work for the group stages. Baylor and New Mexico State, both teams that we expected to move out of the group stage. So this should be a tough matchup.
Yeah, the teams in terms of their rankings are going to be very close to one another, both being respectively 3K to 3.5K teams, so we should be able to see them display a good bit in terms of their mechanics, and we'll see how their rotations and everything are. We saw in the first game that we had on stream, of course, everybody defending on the low ground, getting fairly blown out, at least for the first point, but then putting up a strong defense for the first half, but then of course, ACU being able to run that down on the second point. So we'll see how team comps kind of transition. Reaper has been somebody that we've actually seen a lot more of going against the more dive-oriented comps, as well as more May, actually. How do you think that she's kind of coming about, especially after her changes?
Well, I think May especially is really strong after her changes. I think that the change was kind of underrated. So for those of you who don't know, she no longer has damage fall off on her icicles, which means that you can now do 150 damage headshot icicles from across the map with May. That's pretty insane. So I'm really surprised that May hasn't seen more of an uptick, but I'm even more surprised that we didn't really see any goats coming out in that first map. I mean, granted, Volskaya isn't the best goats map, especially since there's so much high ground, but I still thought we might see it come out, so we'll see if it maybe makes a showing here.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, GOATS, which is typically going to be known as the 3-3 comp, having 3 tanks and 3 supports on each side. Typically, you're going to run that with something like a Brigida, maybe a Moira, and definitely a Lucio for that speed boost and the AoE that he has to go in with his team. So we'll be getting into that in just a second. We're taking it once more over to Volskaya Industries.
Yeah, we're going to see this intro once again. There in the distance, you might see robots we were talking about earlier.
Do you think they have betting on robot fights or anything like that? It looks like that they kind of just walk around and
No, they
build.
dance. The robots dance.
Well, did they have break dance competitions then? I'd put money on that.
I would definitely bet on a robot breakdance competition. But I'm also wondering, maybe one of these teams can pull a Torb out of their back pocket,
Ooh, that would be very interesting. Bastion, the fun things that I always see is on the little moving platforms that kind of go around the stage is that you set up a Bastion with maybe like an Orisa or a Reinhardt and kind of just swing around for sort of like a drive-by on the team as you're just going around the back of the stage. But we'll see what the team comps develop into. We saw a little bit of Junkrat on the defense side earlier. Of course, with him being able to have certain areas that are cut off or a little bit more stronger chokes that you can just launch those projectiles through, it's going to be very hard hitting for the team. But we'll see in just a moment. We saw a little bit of Hanzo, but Hanzo felt a little underwhelming from what we saw earlier.
Yeah, of course, earlier on, we also saw a lot of really good Ana play, which, I mean, especially after a change with the Nano Boost providing that healing now.
Oh, yeah.
I really think that Ana is a much stronger support choice because that ult is now defensive as well as offensive. But here we go, New Mexico State coming out on this offense, and we are going to see a 3-tank, 3-support comp coming out from them. It is a form of GOATS. Usually it's played with D.Va instead of Roadhog, but there's a big charge. Roadhog fighting the first kill, Brink coming in with 2 more, and New Mexico State showing the power of GOATS right there.
Spirit Wizard, I don't think that he was swinging a wand there, but he was swinging that hammer, getting a good bit of kills. So solid job for them to be able, and once more, to be able to break down the defense of the team to start off the round. Seems that there is a contest on the point, though. Oh, no. It looks like
no, I think it was just a weird sound effect.
Oh, okay.
Hanzo, Shadow Doggo on that Hanzo got off so much damage during that first fight, but gonna switch right off to this Pharah, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is that the projectile, Pharah, Junkrat, so strong on the second point, so strong against Ghosts. It can really disrupt a team. So we'll see how this works out for them as New Mexico State trying to push into Baylor right now. Baylor gave up that first point real fast, and there's a huge earth shatter from Spirit Wizard. The entire roster of Baylor is on the ground, and they're heading back to the spawn door, and I think that's going to be it.
Wizard is definitely showing them some magic here on these pushes with that shatter and with what he can do with the hammer. Nice, solid bash there in order to stop the Reinhardt.
That's got to be a record time there from New Mexico State. What an amazing cap.
That was definitely so solid from them. How much time do we even have? We have over 6.5 minutes. 2 points on the board. Such a good job from them to start off this round.
And of course, we saw Jack Commander playing on that Zarya. He was one of our players to watch out for in this match. We didn't really get to see a whole lot, unfortunately. He was able to build up a lot of energy, which was really important, especially very good shielding. And I thought it was interesting how they played it with the Roadhog. They made it work. You know, like I mentioned, usually they run Goats with a D.Va. So how did you analyze that?
No, that was really solid from them. Of course, the difference there with the Roadhog, you can pull people into the middle of your team to be able to just annihilate them, whether it's going to be a tank, a DPS, or anything like that. D.Va is going to have a little bit more of those defensive abilities that you can utilize, having the Matrix where you can block any of the projectiles or hit scan damage such as 76 rockets, anything like that. But of course, it's only for a brief period of time, but she does have the mobility on top or over Roadhog. So we'll see what ends up kind of developing. People have kind of been shying away a little bit more from Roadhog, it feels recently, especially after the most recent change where his primary fire and his secondary fire now have fall-off damage.
Yeah, and of course his hook is just as inconsistent as ever. I mean, it's really tough to land something consistently with that hook. And I think you mentioned it really well, though, the mobility, especially from D.Va, because when you don't have that D.Va in your lineup, the only thing you have to contest high ground is Lucio, and that's not really going to get the job done for you. But we are going to be seeing Baylor coming out on their attack run, their chance to answer to New Mexico State's blisteringly fast attack run.
Yeah, and we'll see what type of team comp they're coming out with. It seems that they're solidified with what they have pulling out here. They're going to be boosting to the point here, and we actually saw New Mexico State trying to go for a little cheeky
Yeah, New Mexico State playing from directly behind Choke. A good start, a charge kill onto that Brig. Spirit Wizard's going to be swinging that hammer, but Kento Bento fighting back. There goes Zonly, and this is just going to be a brawl on the point. Goats v Goats, and there's Super picking up a kill on that D.Va, and look at this Roadhog. Unable to find the damage like he used to be able to. It's just so much more difficult now. A great right click on a Moira, but he's gonna get, was that a shatter from Kento Bento?
It looks like it
probably
Kento
was. Bento dropping down a shatter in that fight. And it looks like New Mexico State might get pushed off here. Oh, Jack Commander with a grab. Can he find the damage he's looking for, though? Can't even D-Neck. A big sound barrier from Shadow Doggo. Gonna keep Baylor up and going. Super with a two-man D.Va bomb. And New Mexico State trying their hardest to stay alive here, but I think Baylor has this fight won.
Yeah, this is such a long fight. We see ultimates coming out time after time again just because the fight's gone on for so long, and we haven't even got up to 33%. Finally going to get one tick on the board as Super pushes up to try and pick off the Moira. She looks like she will get away, so Ergo will find a little bit of spacing to be able to get back with his team as they're just retreating and trying to buy themselves a little bit of time so that they don't get annihilated on this next point.
And Jack Commander looking for some energy right now, trying to build up some ultimates as they push in here. Here comes a Coalescence from JD Buttertoast, unable to keep D.Va's mech alive, but the Roadhog goes down for it. A big shatter there from Kento Bento, and here comes the follow-up. 3 kills, looking for a 4th. Kento Bento charging all the way through. Jack Commander, so much energy, but doesn't matter if you're not going to be able to stay alive.
Both teams are trying to put up blisteringly fast times on the point. We're a little bit past the 6-minute mark, but they're still looking so solid on the point. Baylor is doing their best to try and wrap this up as Super gets pulled in, and we have the rally coming in, but the D.Va bomb as well.
There goes the D.Va bomb. The D.Va bomb, oh, into the Graviton. 3 kills, 4 kills. Looking for more. Baylor trying to clean up this point. Jack Commander with a grab of his own, but his teammates aren't there to help him clean it up. And the sound barrier as well from Shadow Doggo. Going to keep everyone on Baylor nice and healthy here. But look at Zonly, the master of the stagger, just staying alive so long on that Lucio. And here comes the hamster ball.
Yeah, we definitely have Wrecking Ball coming in on shot to try and get on the point. He's already halfway up on that ultimate. We'll see what he's going to be able to do, trying to charge it around, knocking people away. They're still fighting so hard. They are past that second tick on the point, so regardless if they lose this, they will have that pushing into the next fight. These fights are just so long.
Yeah, finally the hamster ball goes down. Everybody just fighting on the point right now. And I think we're actually going to see, a huge boop. But New Mexico State, Spirit Wizards still fighting 2 down on that shatter. Just no follow-up damage yet again. Here comes the rally from Chuck on Baylor. So much armor. Look at Baylor's health bars and the sound barrier on top of it. And the shatter. Kento Bento with another one. Huge plays all around. The Coalescence keeping everybody healed up. Jack Commander on that Doofus trying to do so much damage. We know what that Doofus is capable of, but it goes down, and there's only one man left. It's Ergo on the Moira, and finally, Baylor gonna finish that attack. That was a long fight.
These are non-stop fights that we're witnessing on the points coming out from both teams. It's mind-blowing how much action that we actually have. Both teams not wanting to give anything to the other in terms of momentum, and things finally go the way of Baylor to be able to wrap that up, as we're going to get into the second round here. So both teams going 2-2. So since we're past 1 minute, or rather, since both teams have more than 1 minute, they will be playing with the rest of the time that they have in their time bank for the points moving forward. And then that will slowly wear down, and then depending on where they're at, if they're able to capture both points again or whatnot for that, then we'll see how much of the opportunity they'll have to push.
Yeah, so in other words, for the rest of this matchup, we're going to be seeing Baylor playing with a 2-minute disadvantage. We'll see if they're able to turn it around. They are going to attack first and get a chance to turn it around here. On their last defensive run, we saw New Mexico State playing that sneaky spot behind Choke. We saw them do that. It didn't really work out for them. Do you think they're going to try it again?
Possibly. Of course, playing in that area where they were at first, teams have started to avoid going to the left side out of the spawn, since you have the area where you can get booped by the Lucio and kind of get caught in an odd position with flying off of the map. But so here we go. Baylor University pushing up into the Choke. They don't find anything right now. New Mexico strikes.
New Mexico coming out from behind them again. Here comes that charge from Spirit Wizard, but a big stun. Chuck in the perfect position, but not quite, because he's going to get caught out and go down. And that's exactly the advantage New Mexico State was looking for. They're looking to push the advantage. Jack Commander goes down. Zonely goes down. Shout goes down. New Mexico is getting destroyed by this Baylor offense. They were so ready for this flank. Here comes a shatter from Kento Bento early yet again. A shatter from Spirit Wizard. It is just monster ults all over the place. 2 Coalescences battling it out. Spirit Wizard gonna go down. Ergo. Oh no. Is Ergo gonna get staggered here?
He's gonna get away with that fade, but how far can he actually get? Gets the shield from the Zarya. It looks like that they will capture the point. So Baylor University, even though they had a little bit less time, I believe even when you have extra time in the time bank, you still get 30 seconds to be able to move up to the second point. So they're moving here with a little bit less than 4 minutes.
And there's a big stun again from Chuck onto that Spirit Wizard Reinhardt. A Diva Bomb from Super coming out, takes down Jack Commander. That means that that means that the grab not going to be coming anytime soon. Ray, though, the grab of his own for Baylor. The follow-up isn't there. And another shatter from Kento Bento. So much damage coming out from this Reinhardt position. Another Coalescence as well. They're really playing this Goats comp to perfection, maximizing everything they need to. Jack Commander going down again, unable to do anything on this second point. Instant killed by that Diva Bomb and then taken down by the Coalescence.
And in overtime there, they will end up taking the second point. So Baylor University, solid job. We've seen that Moira has been such a huge pick for both of these sides, being able to throw out the orb and the coalescence, since it charges so fast with the AoE healing. Of course, with her primary heal as well, just being able to spray that all over her team so that they can all be healed up. With the Goats comp, you've seen the 3-3, the extra taints, you just have so much healing opportunity to be able to build up that ult charge. And it's just enabling these long fights for a prolonged period of time, as well as the Lucio with the AoE. So I'd be interested to see if anybody's going to swap into something different to try and counter that. I think teams have been struggling a little bit to try and find any sort of counter to Goats, though, at least right now.
Yeah, in my experience, double projectile or like projectile reaper, like Pharah reaper, Pharah junk reaper, are really like the best thing you can do against goats besides playing goats better.
Sure.
But I really like that. That was a mark. I mean, Baylor, after going down 2 minutes after that first round, to come out and have such a strong attack, make such good adjustments.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't change their comp at all, but you could tell they were playing it differently. And I think it was really strong of them, and we'll see if they can continue making adjustments and maybe turn the tides on New Mexico State here.
Yeah, going into the second round, as New Mexico is going to attack, you got to think that there's a lot of pressure on them. Baylor University on their second round, it's always really hard to think that you're going to capture 2 points, but now everything's just in their favor. Even if they were to lose these next 2 points, they still can go for an entire another round, so they got to be feeling good about themselves.
And here comes New Mexico State onto the point, but Kento Bento starting off on that run, making 3 kills, Super with a 4th, and that fight's going to be over just as quickly as it began. Moira finishing off the last 2. A fast team kill from Baylor University. Kento Bento with a little bit of bad manners right there, but man, what a play on that Reinhardt.
Yeah, the Reinhardts have been swinging away so much here. You would think that we were casting an MLB game on the screen with the way that they're swinging, but they've been doing such a good job for building up their ultimates, and I question a little bit their charges since it seems that they're leaving the team, but they're getting right back into it already, swinging away.
Oh my goodness, Kento Bento knocking down 2 with that shatter, finishing off 1 before the fight even started. They have the Pharah in the sky now, but can't get anything done when all of your teammates are dead.
Yeah, running away there. Moira Orb's actually doing a good bit of damage with that chase on the Mercy and Pharah. It'll be interesting to see where they reposition. Wow.
But Buttertoast getting booped off by Spirit Wizard, going a bit too aggro there. And that could be the opening New Mexico State is looking for. It's a long walk back from spawn. Shadow Doggo going to look to speed him back, but that means it's now a 6v4 for this New Mexico State offense. They've got to push this advantage.
We'll see what they end up coming up with. Spirit Wizard's looking to try and get as much damage up so he can find that rocket barrage, but I don't know if they're going to need it. Chuck's going to pop the rally as Super's trying to find somebody in the back. Seems that they haven't found anybody just yet, but the Diva Bomb comes out, finds 2.
Super with a 2-man Diva Bomb may be able to turn that fight, but the advantage here for New Mexico State coming in. You saw so much damage pumping down from that Pharah. They're able to get through and put in damage without when that Moira isn't there because there's no healing. There's nothing to pick up those tanks. The Rhine goes down so early, and that's really all they needed. New Mexico State going to clean everything else up and going to be able to win this fight.
Ooh, we saw Kento Bento try to charge in there as Jack Commander will have shielded himself, and it looked like that he actually met Shulk on the opposite end there with a charge to be able to put him down, but we have the people capping in the back to be able to try to find a little bit of space on the point, maybe get a little bit of full charge. So ultimates are going to be big as we start off with the grab surge.
Yeah, here comes a grab. Spirit Wizard just pumping rockets into it, but it's not enough. No other damage coming through, and Ray on that Zarya coming in with the first kill to Ryan. Ergo with the res though. Jack Commander finds Chuck, but Zonely goes down. No more Lucio. No potential sound barrier for this New Mexico State offense. The barrage comes down, but it only finds the Diva mech in. It's a really scattered fight. I think New Mexico State's going to have to disengage.
Yeah, as we're seeing there, Ray trying to hunt down Spirit Wizard on that Pharah, not going to be able to find it since he will lap that range on the primary fire, and of course alternate fire is insane to try and hit that with, but solid job on them to be able to hold them off. The times are getting close to even, so even though Baylor University went into the second round with a lot less time, we are getting close to evening things up, and we'll see if they're going to be able to send this over to a third round.
Yeah, here comes New Mexico State pushing aggressively. They have another Graviton built up already, but they use the barrage in last fight. Again, they have nothing to follow up on that Graviton. Shulk on point. There goes the Shatter. He finds 3. He gets the Brim down, but Ray catches the whole team with a grab right there. And that's going to be it. Baylor again cleaning up house.
Ray was definitely looking very solid there for that grab, just waiting until the moment was right for everything to be able to put that onto the team and solidify the...
Oh no.
This is going to be interesting.
Super
moving forward.
With that tactical play there to intimidate the foe.
The big brain plays definitely going to be a form of intimidation.
That is unfortunate, but Baylor should still have enough resources to be able to hold here. New Mexico State trying to push in now. What will they be able to do here? D.Va trying to contest Spirit Wizard in the sky. Pharah at the ready. Here comes Abraz. He finds 2. He's looking for a 3rd. There goes Chuck. They're looking for more. Coalescence trying to keep everybody up for this Baylor defense, but it's looking more and more unlikely. There goes the D.Va back. There goes D.Va. Lucio on this point just trying to pump out damage. Shadow Doggo, no more staggering for you. It's just Moira. Buttertoast goes down. There goes the big stun and the grab and the anti. What a play. Jack Commander finishing him off. And that should be the cap here from New Mexico State.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time now. D.Va's not going to be able to do it all by herself. You thought that the Lucio would have made it, but he does not. So now the interesting thing, and if you didn't know, whenever that you have the lesser amount of time and you actually capture the point, then you will actually attack first. So we'll actually see a swap for this in comparison to what we saw in the second and third round. So on the first set, it was actually Baylor that had the faster time, and then
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
New Mexico
had
State
the
started with a faster time.
Yes.
So Baylor attacked first to get a chance to try and flip that.
Yep.
And they did flip it. And now we're going to, what is this, round 5? We're going to rounds 5 and 6 so that we can see New Mexico State try and flip that advantage back.
Yeah, so we'll see how that momentum carries over if you're starting off on attack, or swapping over might throw some people off. So the fact that you're going from attack and then going right back into attack, maybe that'll work out for them. We'll see if they're going to come up with anything a little bit different. Seems that both teams were feeling pretty solid with their comps. Of course, having the Pharah come out, I did appreciate seeing that. That was something that we hadn't been shown yet, at least for having the further distance from the characters, so that you more or less neutralize the Zarya if somebody has a Reaper. Moira, of course, is very difficult to be able to get damage onto Pharah, since she, of course, has a limited range as well on her damage. But we're getting into this 5th round here, 4-4, as we'll see what they're going to be able to do on the side of New Mexico State.
Yeah, and they're coming in again, and they...
Different route.
Am I seeing this right? They're coming around to the high ground. They're trying to set up this Bastion on the high ground. They're looking for all the damage. They have the shielding. They have the healing. But Baylor University not giving them any sightlines. There's no targets for this Bastion to shoot at. But, oh, I thought Super got caught out. I thought he fell off the map there. But he is able to stay alive. Bastion still looking for targets, unable to find anything. Kento Bento going to go down. But other than that, uneventful so far. Chuck going to take down Semporium on the mirror there. And Mirror's going down again. Finally, the Bastion goes down. And Baylor going to be able to stabilize. Shao shatters, but his team's dead. Can he clean this up by himself? He's already found 2. He's looking for a 3rd. There it is. And Shao cleans it up all by himself. No DPS needed.
So solid. He's taking that hammer into his hands, charging in like Reinhardt in the cinematic, saying, I am the DPS. I will carry you all to victory. So sticking with the Bastion, that was very interesting, moving up onto the high ground. I actually really like that creativity, and then even jumping down onto the point and trying to cover him with the Reinhardt shield, as well as with the Zarya bubble, to try and be able to set him up in a solid position in the middle of the team. But we'll see what the ultimates are going to play out like as they get into the second point.
And here comes Jack Commander, so high energy. The rally going to come out from this Baylor defense, trying to keep everybody up. The Coalescence as well. Buttertoast finding a kill. There's 2, and I think New Mexico State is going to back out here. But I think that was a smart play by New Mexico State. It looks like they went for a dry push to try and bait out some ults from Baylor.
Yeah, very good job for them on the defense. We're getting down into the final minute of this round, so we'll see what New Mexico State is going to do. Ooh, had a pin there on the outside. Looks like that they will pop the rally as they're pushing in the next point.
Unfortunately, Baylor getting caught out of position there. 2 going down. Kento Bento trying to turn around. Here comes the D.Va Bomb. Not able to find anything. Kento Bento and Chuck both go down. There goes Shadow Doggo. And of course, that fight started off. Baylor was trying to clean up Spirit Wizard with the tank ult, but Baylor pushed past Choke. They were trying to clean up New Mexico State, and instead they get caught out. They get staggered. New Mexico State pushes in with 2 man up.
Wow.
And look at that.
Sits on the board for New Mexico. I can't believe it. This is an interesting part that you have about the 2 CPs, is that things can go to a crazy high number of games in terms of putting points on the board. So most of the time, it's either going to be something like a shutout. You'll have maybe a team go maybe even full hold on the first point and then just put up a single one within the first minute or two. Sometimes you'll put up the first point but then struggle on the second point, so then it goes 1-2 or to a certain percentage. But to be able to put up 6 points on the board, that's such a good job to be able to just fight back with less and less time as it's progressed through the game here. So we're having so much action in all these fights. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves.
Yeah, these two teams are so closely matched. We're going to have to see how Baylor responds. There's even still time in the bank for New Mexico State. So Baylor needs to cap 2 points, and ideally with some time left off on the clock, or else they're just playing for a draw.
Yeah, so since they do have those 15 seconds, what I believe is that if Baylor were to capture both of these points, then you would have a minute on top of the remaining time, since it's under a minute that you have in your bank.
I think it would like boost it up to a minute.
A minute.
New Mexico State would get an extra 45 seconds, but Baylor would also get an extra 45 seconds. Just got to keep everything fair. Baylor University pushing in here. New Mexico State, are they going to come up from behind again?
Ooh, we didn't see this. We actually have Spirit Wizard going to be on the Bastion. This will be wonderful for breaking down the Reinhardt, but they're not moving to... Oh my god!
Shadow Doggo getting caught out on that Lucio, and now this team, Baylor University, everybody is stuck in this mega health pack room. They can't retreat, but Chuck gonna find an early kill, but there goes New Mexico State pushing this advantage, creating a big crossfire. Spirit Wizard dropping down onto the point there to spray into Mega Room while his team pushed down the hallway. That was really well set up by New Mexico State.
This is what I was hoping to see eventually from some of the teams, is setting up in the back to be able to have a lot of spacing so that you can kind of scout out what the offense is going to do when they push up towards you. They have to be a little bit mindful, since it looks like that was a far rocket that came through, trying not to get booped off of the map, since it is a dead zone, considering that you fall into the freezing waters there. So we'll see what they're going to be able to do as Baylor is going to be pushing up, and they go on the opposite side here.
Yeah, they're pushing up onto the point, trying to take a very long sight line from that Bastion, because his spread is so wide. It's really hard to get consistent damage, but you can get consistent damage from the tank. Here it comes, flying down. Diva Mech goes down, a big nade from Ergo, and I think that's going to be another stabilization here from New Mexico State.
Yeah, at this point, just picking the rest of Baylor off. Oh, actually Diva getting her mech bat there, but you would think that she's probably going to have to run away. We'll see how far she can actually get. Might have to actually jump off the map in order to not give any more ultimate charge, but it seems that she'll get away just fine.
Yeah, going to fly around the corner there to get away, but New Mexico State so strong on this defense, this Bastion strat. Baylor's just reeling. They don't know what to do against it.
Yeah, it can be so difficult considering that you have to travel so far and there's just a wide open area. You have to use all of your corridors and the coverage that you have to be able to get around. It seems like they finally got creative with this and they're going around the bat side, so this is a perfect opportunity for them to strike.
The boom comes down, but unable to knock anybody off. Spirit Wizard out of position. A big charge. Spirit Wizard going to go down. Shout going to go down too. Off the map. Gento Bento. What a charge. And that could be it. That could be exactly the adjustment Baylor was looking for. They come around the back. Shadow Doggo with the barrage, ending Sepioramon's chances to turn this fight back. Lucio gonna stall it out just to try and take some extra time off the clock, but what a charge from Gento Bento.
That was so good of him.
Dropping Shulk right off the map.
That was almost like a masterpiece. If he was painting with his charge along the way, he would have been Picasso right there to be able to do something for that. Just his ability to analyze and say, how far do I have to go for my charge here? And
all right, you hear that, Blizzard? We need a Reinhardt skin where his hammer is a paintbrush. All right, well, we're getting into the second point fight here. New Mexico State still on that Bastion, but they have a soldier now, too, instead of the Brig. A Sleep Dart comes through. They're looking for a shatter, and there it goes. Grab from Ray, but everybody's shattered. They can't clean it up. Super has the Diva Bomb at the ready. Gonna toss it out there. Can she find the kill she's looking for? Nothing goes down. Meanwhile, Moira with a 3K Butter Toast, looking for blood on this support roll. Looking for more. There's a fourth. And Baylor, are they actually going to get it? Are they going to get it in time?
Ooh, so close. Last second here, we're in overtime.
No, they are going to go into overtime, but are they going to get extra time for that?
The percentage is so low.
Okay, so now the question is, does Baylor go up to a minute?
Since both teams are there, they should both go up to a minute because they're both under a minute.
I guess we'll see it right now.
It should be a minute 15.
Yes.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so 6-6.
My
Three
God.
great rounds of Overwatch right here between Baylor and New Mexico State. And it all comes down to this. Each team just 1 minute.
Yeah, coming into this, you thought that both teams would have been so evenly matched, and we're definitely seeing this. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw both of the scores, or one of the scores, go up to 8. Of course, considering that you can capture the first point, even if you're in overtime, you will have 30 seconds added to your time to be able to at least run to the second point and try and make something happen. But we'll see how long these teams can fight on the point, since overtime is going to be ticking down so quickly. They're going to have 1 to 2 fights, you would think, unless everybody's going to kind of stagger in and they're going to be able to regroup. But the interesting part will be ultimates. How are teams going to be able to build up ultimates quickly? Are ultimate team going to be a factor moving into this? That's going to be, I think, the key thing.
Yeah, I think ultimates are going to be very important here. And as we've seen, like, over these last few sections, both teams just kind of use them as soon as they get them. I mean, there is a little bit of I guess discrepancy there, but we'll see. Maybe I think you're right. The team with a smarter ult usage is going to come out with the win here, probably. And we're seeing Baylor pushing up now into New Mexico State. Both teams brawling it out just by that tractor there. Baylor trying to bring it outside, and there's a short charge onto Sepuremon. No more Brigitte for this New Mexico State defense. And that's a great start. They're coming through. Kento Vento, though, going to go down. But there goes Spirit Wizard, and the advantage still in favor of Baylor. The kill feed starting to fill up with blue. Can they keep it going? Shalk on that Roadhog staying alive. A big hook onto Super. Is that going to be enough for them to turn it around?
We'll find out. They're getting into under 20 seconds. We have the grab surge out. Only hits 1, though. That still might be big for them. We'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah, it is able to confirm a kill onto Shadow Doggo. Lucio, very slippery target, but Kento Bento, his shatter basically nullified, and Spirit Wizard going to come out with one of his own. Chuck ended up wasting that rally ultimate for Brigitte, and they're going to keep contesting this, but I think New Mexico State is going to pull him out.
Yeah, looks like it. Not even a tick on the board, so even though you show it up, well, a little bit of stagger.
Shadow Doggo making it onto the point, extending that overtime, but not going to be enough.
Takes a nice trip back to the point, just saying, it's all right, we completed the round still. So even though we saw a little bit of percentage go up, you have to hit that 33.3% in order to actually have any progress count whatsoever. So even though we saw a little bit of percentage tick up, that will not matter. We're going to need to get up to 1/3 in order to be able to close this out. Otherwise, this will be a tie.
Yeah, so right now we're going to be seeing Baylor doing whatever they can to play for that tie. Meanwhile, New Mexico State, minute 15 seconds to get 1/3 of the point. The way they've been pushing this game, it's hard to believe they wouldn't be able to get it, but it was hard for me to believe Baylor wouldn't be able to get that first point.
Yeah, both teams, it might be worrying on them, just a nonstop action, just that momentum that they had. It is sort of seeming to die off as we kind of transition through the rounds. Teams have been able to hold off a bit longer rather than having those non-stop fights. So we'll see what they end up setting up with on the side of the defense. It'll be so interesting if they end up actually holding this and then we do end up with a tie. But of course, that's just more games of Overwatch. Of course, I'm sure everybody would enjoy that very much. But we will see if there's anything cheeky that comes out as well. You had mentioned the Sombra earlier, but we haven't seen Sombra this round.
Yeah, we saw Sombra a lot, actually, in the first map on Volskaya, but this time around, no Sombra. So maybe we'll see something come out. New Mexico State coming out with that offense, time ticking off the clock now as they're going to be coming through. They're going to try and push into this, and it looks like Shadow Doggo. Looks like Baylor's running this Bastion strat. They're trying to do it better than New Mexico State. They're taking this positioning on the opposite side of the high ground. And there comes a big charge from Spirit Wizard all the way around, but he loses his team. He goes too deep. Shadow Doggo now has this crossfire, but he's going to get hooked. He's going to get taken down. His hitbox is massive. Kento Bento trying to get any kind of damage he can to turn this fight around. Shadow Doggo getting res that could be huge, but no! Roadhog takes him down again. Kento Bento goes down to Ergo on that Ana, and it's looking so close to ending. But New Mexico State, with that rally, so many kills, Ergo taking down Chuck, the kill feed filling up with red. And there it is. New Mexico State going to take this map and the match.
This was such a bloody game on both sides there, but solid job from New Mexico to be able to finally clutch it out. We had to go 6 entire rounds, and oh man, it was so crazy, but we're gonna have buttered toast. Shout out to everybody from the 90s and early 2000s. Eddie, everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna see that play the game from the Moira. It's just feeding damage into that Graviton, getting so much damage, so much healing. Well played there. And
oh my god, 82 limbs and had 60 for them on the objective. That is an absurd number, especially for the Moira, but having those orbs just flying around and hitting everybody so consistently is going to be such a big thing on both sides there. And I believe that's a big thing, her mobility and the ability for her to just heal up so fast, all of the taints.
And another thing, how well New Mexico State played around the Roadhog and how well they were able to counter the Bastion strat. I mean, you could tell they'd really practiced that Bastion strat because they knew exactly how to counter it. They came in, they pushed, they saw the positioning, they pushed right through that hallway. And Spirit Wizard got a bit carried away with the charge, but they were able to turn it back. They were ready, they were able to turn it around.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed by everybody on both sides for there. The Reinhardts were crazy aggressive, but it's always fun to see when you can enable your Reinhardt to be able to get out the damage from the swings, of course, hitting anybody that's within his range. It's going to be just putting up so much consistent damage if you're able to keep him alive and keep him healthy throughout the entire fights, which they were doing on both sides, so that was always fun to see.
I'm really loving the Ana play we're seeing too today. So many good nades, so many good sleep darts, especially. I mean, I think we saw one on second point there. The Reinhardt got slept to start the fight. Yep. The Shatter came out. Very well executed.
The Ana changes, which have happened fairly recently, for being able to shoot through the targets, to be able to basically miss fully healed targets. I think that's actually a huge part. You used to not see a lot of Ana. Of course, her biotic grenade's a big thing, but I think having targets staggered, since you of course have the Reinhardt push further up and then have Azaria, maybe the Diva, you're going to be able to keep those taints healed up through all of the crowded fights that we're having, which is, I think, a huge thing and a reason why we're probably seeing the Ana played a lot more now.
And they also increased her overall healing potential. She has more ammo now. And of course, the ammo, shooting people is how she heals her teammates. She, you know, pew pew. But, you know, so going down there with the extra ammo, and that is really making a difference. We are going to be getting our next match ready. What is that? New Mexico State versus Texas Arlington.
Yep, and so Group A here is what was wrapped up there. Of course, we saw New Mexico advancing, so they are going to be advancing as the losers out of Group A versus UT Arlington, which are the winners of Group B. So it's going to be winners versus losers from Group A and B when we come back right after this.